And how are we going? I'm just going to talk for a little bit, just in case the microphones aren't good enough and I don't want to say anything important that doesn't make sense.
That's fair.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. We're just going to wait for the old thumbs up-a-roo.
Thumbs up-a-roo, there we go.
Quality.
So, guys, how are we going?
Good.
He's good. He's good.
Yeah,
He's Don.
He's good.
Love that.
Yeah. How you going, Josh?
I'm good. Yeah. For those that don't know, we have Alex Devonshire here in the Cultivate hoodie coming November. And we have Teagan Burns repping the Gap Youth beanie over here.
Get around it.
Coming September.
Coming September. Coming September.
Yeah.
And I'm here. You know who I am. So
He's repping the Eternity Church hat.
I am. And fly full. Get around it. Anyway.
Support local.
Yeah, shop local, as they say.
Nice.
Also, just quickly, Mum asked whether I want pizza tomorrow night. What do you guys think?
What are the options? Pizza or what?
I just got a text saying, would you be interested in pizza tomorrow night?
Yeah.
I mean, a free feed's
The
a
answer would be
free
yes.
feed.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's like, oh, no, I don't want pizza. It's like, oh, no worries. We'll have stew.
Casserole.
Casserole. Yeah, get some casserole up here.
Slow cooker. Sort of.
I actually get around a good slow cook, just quietly. Mum does this really good, like, curry chicken slow cooker. It's good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, bit of mood lighting. Buzzing. It's really buzzing from the rain as well, just quietly.
We are buzzing tonight, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely buzzing. Anyway, before we started this stream, we were just kind of doing a mic check. And we got into this topic of how many camels do you think you would be worth? And so before we start this whole conversation, guess how much a camel is worth in the comments.
Yeah.
Because we were I was quite off. I'll be honest. I was, I'm not going to spoil it. Just
I was well short of the mark.
Yeah, I was also well short. So if that gives you a hint. But yeah, so Teagan, how much is a camel worth?
So they can range depending on their age or how trained they are. So they can go from anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 US dollars. That is, I didn't bother.
That's actually stonks. Like that's US dollars.
Mad stonks.
That's like 8.5 to 35 grand.
Yep. So I completely lost what you're talking about.
Camels, my man.
Yeah.
Camels.
So hear me out, right? There's a lot of wild camels. And like in Queensland, you have the wild goats that you can just herd yourself.
Really?
I think. I don't know. That's I've seen it on
a movie,
TV.
surely.
Yeah, no, on the TV. You just go and
Seems legit.
Hunt goats or pigs or whatever.
And camels are under that as well.
Are you allowed to just go or are they like a national thing? Or can you just go collect camels?
No, camels are absolute pests.
Yeah.
In the outback.
Really?
Then think about it, right? You buy cattle right now, prices are booming. Like 75 for a Frisian calf, 200 for an Angus calf. straight out of the womb, still in the bottle. And then like when you sell them, they're at like $2,500, and that's after like 2 years, right?
Okay.
How long would it take a camel to reach $30,000 worth?
You'd have to be training it.
How do you
Yeah.
train?
I reckon the trained camels would be the 30,000. $5,000 might get you. I don't know.
Like a pretty,
calf.
like
A
a grotty,
Dumbass camel that's stubborn. I don't know.
grotty camel.
A breeder camel.
Mm.
Yeah.
How do you train a camel?
So I didn't fully. There was a 35-minute video that I found. I didn't watch it, but if you guys, I can post a link somewhere so you guys can definitely watch it in your spare time if you're interested in how to train a camel. But I do know that the best age to train a camel is 1.5 to 4 years, like within that time period. But you do need to be very gentle with said camel that you've gotten.
Gentle with the camel.
Yeah, because they're emotional beings, and you gotta approach
You gotta
them
connect with
nicely.
them on a deeper level, don't
Yeah,
you?
pretty much.
So you're saying, like, say base camel, $5,000.
Mm.
I can make a 4-year, $5,000 investment and potentially return with $30,000.
But you got to find yourself a camel trainer as well, because
I can train. I've trained. What have I trained?
A dog? Question mark?
No, I mean,
didn't really train him
I'm
that well, did you?
I'm a pretty, I'm a
Sorry.
bit rough.
Sorry.
And then I was going to say horses, but like I also trained that pretty poorly. But I feel like I'm now an adult and I know I'd be able to train a camel. Like you'd just do the
Yeah.
thing. It'd be the same as a dog. You hold it here and you give it a whack on the butt with a stick and you say sit. And then it sits and then you make it eat some food on the ground and then it lies down.
Yeah.
I'm wondering the ratio of, like, when you give a dog a little smack, it's a very little smack. What would the ratio for a camel to feel the same be?
Cattle prod.
You'd have to full on.
Actually, I don't know if
Uh.
it's this borderline conversation actually, just quietly. So
Also, I've got one more camel question. How old do they live to? Like, if prime age is for training, 18 months to 4 years, how old do camels get? Do they get to 30 years old? Surely. 50-year-old camel? Is that too far-fetched?
what, like 25? I feel like camels should go to 20.
How old do horses live?
Until they decide they're ready, I guess. But
Well, it depends what industry they're in.
that's true. But I guess at the same time, it
If they're in the
also
mining industry, it's a lot shorter because of the carbon stuff.
The carbon footprint.
Yeah,
Anyway,
hoofprint.
so Dev, what have you been up to this week?
I mean, apart from studying up on my camel knowledge, I haven't been up to a lot. I've really enjoyed the sunny days. We had that. Yesterday was beautiful. Day before was pretty good as well. And I just enjoyed the sun, really.
Enjoyed the sun.
Yeah.
Love that. What about you, Teagan?
yeah, I'm coming up to my final weeks in year 12, so it's getting pretty heavy on the sack load. So I've just mostly been studying, but anyway, so besides from that, I've been working here and there. What about you, Josh?
I've been watching a lot of Hermitcraft on YouTube. It's a Minecraft series. But now I've been working this week. So, just cruising along. Big days. Yeah.
Just before we go any further, I just want to shout out Zach Gordon. Happy birthday for tomorrow, man.
Happy
We
birthday.
were talking about it just before, and yeah, big 18. Happy birthday. We send all of our love to you, mate.
Absolutely.
You
Hope-
get around Zach Gordon.
Heck yeah.
Speaking of getting around things, one of my favourite forms of poetry is a limerick. And there's something I really get around. So I thought it'd be a cool challenge if we could all make a limerick about each other.
Could I please have a recap of a limerick?
A limerick.
Yes.
Because I normally do haikus,
Okay, I actually,
but
yeah.
we
All
can
right.
do limericks.
So a limerick, the first 2 lines rhyme with each other. So it's 5-line poem. It goes, the 1 and 2 rhyme together, and number 5 also rhymes with 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 rhyme together.
I
And-
like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so the sounding goes da 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 da. And so, for an example, there once was a fella. There was a man named Josh who was quite posh.
Okay.
He couldn't train a horse because he failed his course. Something rhyming with Josh. Yeah, mate. Nah, but that doesn't do the
It
da.
It just doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it rhymes, but it doesn't do the.
The amount
thing.
of syllables isn't quite correct, is it?
Yeah, nah. Anyway, so I thought it'd be a quick, since you're obviously studying English, and I don't know what, you do in English these days because I did VCAL. So it could maybe, writing a limerick could be in your exam. That's what they're called. For
Yeah.
your, ATAR.
Or your sack.
yeah, or in a sack.
Yeah. I mean, you never really know. It's just. Are you wanting me to go first?
Yeah,
or-
so I'm going to get, so what we kind of need is just some quick facts that you could write it off. So first of all, what's your mother's maiden name?
Pendrick.
What's the first car that you ever owned?
This is important information from some of my
the
security
name of the
questions.
street that you first lived in,
Oh, right.
and just a common password that you'd use.
Your primary school first pet for teacher's name.
No, all right. So,
Password 1.
like first name, last name, a town that you're from, in case they want to go from. There was a young man from Budgeree who, actually, that's a good one.
who actually couldn't see.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, quick. Just give us a quick fact. Maybe in the comments section as well. If you want to try and write a limerick about these guys or myself, then
Please do.
let us know. So, Dev, just let us know some key information.
All right. Names you could use for me. You could use Alex. You could use Dev. You could use. That's about it, really. Few key bits of information. I like to play golf. I am at university. I live in Morwell. I have a size 10 shoe.
Nice.
And I prefer dogs over cats.
It's big,
Interesting.
very big. Teagan?
I'm in year 12. From Traralgon. Names. I've got 2 middle names actually, so if you could work my full name in there.
That's actually, that is a big flex.
Yeah, it is. I impress myself sometimes. Yeah. So Teagan, Joy, Renee Burns. You guys can. Anyway. Favorite color's probably blue. I have 3 brothers.
Love that.
Yeah.
Fun facts about me. Joshua, Righto. Rev, preacher, whatever you're feeling. From Traralgon, or Foster, depending on where you want to go. I get around most things, so just have a crack. Anyway, so what were you going to say?
No, I'm just thinking of a limerick, and I thought looking at you might help.
Okay. Yep. So what we're going to do is you're going to, just like praying, we're going to do a limerick for the person to your right. So I'll give a limerick to Teagan. Teagan will do one to Alex, and Alex will do one to me. And we'll give ourselves 1 minute to quickly figure out a limerick.
And how are we going to make this entertaining for the viewers?
Yes. Whilst this is happening, I'm going to sing a song to you whilst I write this limerick about Teagan.
I might write mine down as
Yeah.
well.
Here comes the sun. Du-du-du-du. Here comes the sun. When I say... This is so
It's
hard to
all
do.
right.
Just sing a song and also to write a limerick. There was... Nah, alright. Oh, this is good. I'm already happy with myself here.
This is just scintillating stuff, guys. I can't imagine what you guys at home are thinking, but this is peak viewing.
Peak viewing. All right, we have 30 seconds left. I've finished mine.
All right, so you can talk
Like,
smack
ah.
now.
So I'm going to talk. I got my COVID jab on Thursday. And the one piece, I mean, they said a lot of things that kind of, had me a little bit concerned. But the one thing was one of the guys from work told me, do not sleep on the arm that you got the jab. And I was like, that's all right. I've been training to sleep on my back. It's just I decided that I'd sleep on my back. That'd be a fun thing to do. Anyway, just couldn't sleep. And it got to like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, I've got to be up in like 5 hours. So I'm just going to have to cop the bullet and sleep on the side I usually sleep on, which is my left. And so like it didn't really hurt when I went to sleep. And I woke up and I was like, stuff me. Like any contact with my arm or any use of it just did me in. Like I was leaning against the truck as you do as a council worker, and my arm bumped like the tray, like just on the cushy bit where where the jab was. Anyway, did me in. Just wasn't a good time. Anyway, I reckon that's about enough time to write the limerick.
Oh.
So I'll start us off, and obviously, you can't write a quality limerick in such a short amount of time, but there was a young girl from Teagan. She did homeschool for eons. She wears cool socks. I've never seen her wear docks, and her name is Teagan.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
Thanks. I'm here all day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Teagan.
Listen, I really struggled with this one. My creativity at the moment is at an all-time low. So I got about one line, and I don't really know how well it was, but there is a guy named Alex who farmed scallops. I had to Google things that rhymed with Alex. I was like, I have nothing right now.
That's when you just go with Dev.
Yeah.
There was a young man. Oh, you just go from Budgeree. There was a young man from Budgeree who could climb mountains as far as the eye could see. He has blonde hair. He can't wrestle a bear.
And his dad works chopping down trees.
Ah.
That's a collab
Yeah. That
or a duet. What would you?
a duet? Yeah.
A duet. It's a poet.
Yeah, a poetical duet.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I will read mine out. This is a shout out to one of my friends who likes to call Josh this name. I know a guy named Josh C. He's never been stung by a bee. He slept on his arm because he couldn't keep calm and woke up with a sore knee.
All facts. Look, I did wake up with a sore knee, unrelated, and I have been stung by a bee, but that was good.
That was
I'm happy with that. That's good.
nice. Quality.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from limericks as a form of English language. The next is jokes, comedy. That's a way that we communicate with each other. Anyway, so knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Alexander.
Alexander who?
Alex, hand her your microphone, please.
Oh, nice.
No, not actually.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I thought of that last night when I couldn't sleep because I was sleeping on my back, so you know it's good quality.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, so now you guys need to make up a joke.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
There's not many people that call me Alexander, and it's usually just my mum.
When
When
you're in
she
trouble?
asks if you want pizza.
No, she just normally calls me that because she really likes the name, and I don't know whether she enjoys that I just get called Alex or Dev.
Oh, we have a limerick from Cecil. I'm just going to read it before I say it out loud. Okay. My limerick is, Dev said boys, rhymes with hoys. Something about hashtag, something tagged and bagged, boys. That's good content. Thank you, Cecil, for your contribution.
And happy birthday, Jacob Cecil, for, I think it was Tuesday.
I thought it was Wednesday.
Or was it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
He had a nice candlelit dinner and watched videos of Hasbulla.
Correct.
Yep. Actually, when I got my COVID jab, Cecil was there.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a good time.
Yep.
That was a good time.
A joke.
Yeah. So I did it to my left, so you guys have to say a joke using the same facts to your person to your left. So
That's tough.
Alex joked Teagan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna sing a song. You have 1 minute.
All right.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Put under a basket or something. I'm gonna let it shine every day. Every day. I really need to listen to that song again. Might play it afterwards.
You should, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. All right, that's enough time.
Oh, hey, who sings that song? Do you know?
Bethel.
You should probably let them sing it. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was a joke. I thought you transitioned.
I'm so sorry.
No. But thinking off the top of my head.
Yep.
Hey, knock knock.
Who's there?
There's something you're missing. Like someone robbed something from you, Josh.
There's something you're missing. There's someone's robbed something from you, Josh. Who?
This is horrible, but it seems that you've.
You're not right in the head.
I think I've just got it. You go. Yep.
All right. That's probably better than I got. I'm just going to flesh out my ideas with you guys. I was thinking along the lines of Burns because it's very easy to slide in somewhere. Could have made like a dad joke type thing. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a math sack when you have to explain your answer.
Yeah.
But you actually don't need to put the answer.
Yeah.
You just need to explain your processes.
And you just try and put all the processes in and just write what you remember.
Exactly.
Just to get the bonus marks for working out.
My tactic for exams in year 11, and I did some accelerated subjects, so it still counts, was that you don't do any study prior. And on the night before,
You pray.
You do a quick read, and then it's all fresh in your memory. And the thing is, right, if you're like really stressed about something, your mind's just running a million miles an hour. But if you're like, man, like I'm good, I've got job opportunities that don't require a good ATAR. So whether I do good or bad at this, it doesn't matter. So I'm low stress, chill. I've remembered everything from the night before because I'm just vibing out.
Well, on the contrary, I run under the motto of diamonds are made under pressure. So what you do before the exam, psych yourself up. Think about how much of a failure you're going to be if you do poorly. Just think about how badly you want to get that good result. Psych yourself up. And then you just have the weight of the world on you while you're doing it. And you've got no choice but to remember. Like, there's no room for your brain to decide, oh, do I remember this or don't I? It's your survival instincts kick in and you just know it.
What if you're instead of a fight or flight, you're a freeze person?
If you're a freeze person,
Stand under the heater for a bit.
or just maybe try a different career path.
Yeah.
Just don't freeze.
That's when you do VCAL.
Oh,
We have a great
yeah.
time. Do you know how little work I did in VCAL? I'm doing good.
No, I walked past the VCAL room a fair bit actually.
Yeah. And they're always having a good time.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just thriving, vibing.
So here's the thing, right? Oh, actually, we still need to get to your joke, Teagan. Both of you, actually.
Yep.
Neither of you gave me a joke.
Yep.
So,
I'll do what Alex did. I'll explain.
nah, I want a joke.
Oh, okay. Yep. Give me a minute.
Come on, guys. I specifically told you. Yeah, thanks.
What did Teagan say when she lost her favourite pair of duck socks?
Oh, quack. Yeah? Yeah?
I wasn't going to say that. I thought of that. I'm like, nah, I've got a better one.
What is it? What did Teagan say?
Where's my favourite duck socks?
Oh.
That's fair. That's fair. I think.
But that ticks the box of a joke. So
It does. And dad wheel. Done well. Teagan?
Why couldn't Josh tell the difference between his left and rights?
why couldn't Josh
That's
tell
good.
the
Because-
difference between his left
Because he's
and right?
born right?
I was going to say, he's always right.
Yeah, my bad.
They don't call him Mr. Right for nothing.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah. Had many of them. Speaking of missed
Um,
opportunities. you
One
go.
second, sorry. We've got some comments here. There's one I'd like to read out from Jacob Cecil. It's his strategy to do with exams. If it's a multiple choice, I usually try to pick a pattern. Or if C hasn't been picked in a while, I go with that. Never
That's-
fails, apparently.
It's a quality strategy.
It's fact. And speaking of never fails, how many times have you failed, Cecil? That's the real question. And quick announcements before I forget. History Makers Trivia Night is meant to be next week. Obviously, due to the current situation, that won't be happening. So we're going to postpone that till next term. I'll explain more of that later. I'm just letting you guys know. Also, we have Father's Day on Sunday. So just a reminder to, grab a present. And if you don't know what to grab them, just give them a phone call.
Or give him a big hug and a kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do all three. Like, even if you live with them, I feel like your dad would just appreciate a phone call. Like, you're just chilling in the lounge room and just give him a call. Like, that'd be good comedic content.
Yeah.
And we also have beanies. The beanies have arrived, finally. Teagan's repping it.
Get around it.
Yeah.
They'll cost money.
They'll cost money. I'm not going to say how much, just quietly. Actually, no, I will. If you are eligible to pick them up on a Friday night, meaning your age requirement fits in between 12 years old and 18 years old, or you're a leader, they'll cost you $20 dues, Australian $1
So that's like 0.1% of a very small camel.
Yes. And then if you are not able to do that on a Friday, meaning you're outside of that age bracket, they'll cost you $25 dues, Australian. Dev,
Bargain.
absolute bargain.
Amen.
All right, so now that we've got that stuff away, I just want to talk quickly, and then we'll go into a game, and then I'll talk. Like, lockdown being, like, isolated or plans changing a lot, like, I feel like, Teagan, this would impact you the most. How do you stay, or, how do you attempt to stay, if it's a more relevant question? Or how do you remain focused on God, or how do you attempt to stay at peace or continue to find happiness or joy in your situations when this ideals or circumstances are so unideal? That's to both of you. I just thought I'd address Teagan because she's doing online school and that'd suck. So
Yep. I also am studying online.
same actually, yeah.
But I guess a lot of the time it comes through getting into his word and just reading the Bible and reading about how much God actually loves us and how much he's on our side. Like, we may think that the world's against us and God sort of just left us, and that's why we're feeling down in the dumps or we're feeling by ourselves. But often it's that we forget that God's there and we actually don't connect with him when we have all this time, all this free time. We still find a way to put him lower in our priorities and we just put other stuff in front of him. And I often find that if I just take a 30-minute break from whatever I'm doing, sit down, read some of the Bible, listen to some worship music, I'm actually more productive for the rest of the day, as well as feeling more secure about who I am.
Yeah.
Love that.
So good. Yeah, very similar. I think it's definitely about making my quiet time with him a priority, because it's like you don't have time. Well, because of lockdown, you don't really have to travel anywhere. You don't really have to, you have all this extra spare time, it's easy to just sit on your phone or watch videos or something random. But just sort of pushing those distractions aside and being like, alrighty, I'm going to sit down, spend 30 minutes just reading my Bible. Or I was actually challenged last week about what kind of music I listen to. Like, I'll be doing an assignment or something, and I'll just be like, jamming to whatever, and I'll just be like, oh, I could be. I mean, obviously, you're always in his presence, but, you know, just be really switched on to, like, he's here with me. I'm his beloved child. He's my awesome dad. Like, you know, so try and surround myself, create an atmosphere for him to speak, no matter what I'm doing. Could be just going for a walk or sitting, literally, no matter what. Just, making room for him.
So good. I think, I don't want to spoil my talk at the end of this, but something that I kind of found was that, and Andrew said it on Sunday, it's like you become what you worship. And like, you know, obviously no one worships COVID, right? But if you just focus on, like, for me, worship is focus and giving it your attention and your, you know, whatever. If you focus on COVID, you become very, you know, fearful and, you know, depressed and sad and anxious about this whole situation. But when you focus on God, you're then, you know, the short term of this COVID thing doesn't really affect you as much because your focus is on God, is on the result, not on the current circumstance. And I think that was something that really like stood out to me. It's like when you're in a situation, what are you going to worship in that? What are you going to create as the idol for that moment? Are you going to create this negative situation, or are you going to have the solution, which in most times is God, and then focus on that and worship that? And I guess that can also come down to like where you put your identity or where you put your, you know, sense of being. Like if your sense of being or sense of identity is in God, then, you know, you're going to focus there. But if it's in, you know, public validation, you know, your Instagram post count's going to go up, your likes probably won't go up, and then you'll get even worse. Like you'll feel worse because you're hoping for validation off these posts because that's where your focus is now on.
Yeah. I mean, Mia, she said to me today that we're created to worship, and we're created to worship something. So we're not worshiping God, then we're worshiping something else.
Yeah. Love that. Such a good word. Yeah, it's like we as people, we're obviously searching for something.
Yeah.
Like even when you talk to a non-Christian person, it's like everyone's, for the most part, everyone's searching for this whatever it is. And it's just we as Christians, you know, we've found God, and so we don't have that big search anymore. You know what I mean?
But it doesn't mean that there's times where we search for other things. Like
Exactly.
we're all human. It's not like once you're a Christian, you're immune to any kind of temptation, any kind of thing that could hinder your relationship with God. Like it's an ongoing battle, and some people I think forget about that. And there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. Like we all make mistakes. It's just that if you make that mistake and you choose to run from God rather than run to God, then that's where you start to, I don't know, build that barrier up against him, because if you have this ideology that you think that God's going to punish you, well, of course you're going to run from him. But as we know in the Bible, it says that God loves us so much and that we should go running to him in times of need, in times of trouble. So
good.
Yeah.
I love that. It's a good word, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just going to move on to a game. And as you do that, my little brief thing, I was reading Luke. I'm reading Luke at the moment. I read it at night time, just quietly. Anyway, I'm reading Luke, and I was reading Luke 22, and I noticed there's this massive section where they use the word among, like a lot. Like among you, among us, you know, among the group. Anyway, it just got me like really like, man, like God is among us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyway, so we're going to do a quick Bible race. So that's you. You're just going to get your phones, all right? Because I thought about it, but I also didn't follow through with my thoughts.
Gotcha.
We do
so-
love a Bible race.
we love a good
do.
Bible race. And could you chuck up the first graphic for me, Jared? The Joshua. Yep. So the Bible race, we're going to Joshua 3:10. Is that correct, Jared? Yep.
Got him.
Damn.
Okay.
Quick.
Alex, would you like to read Joshua 3:10?
Joshua 3:10. And Joshua said, "Here is how you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites."
That was brewing for a while.
It's truth. Sorry.
Did I say something wrong?
No, I'm just working in Poland.
Shall I continue?
Nah, that's all good.
So, what about the Gershites and the Amorites and the Jebusites?
So Dev, this is a bit like a deal or no deal kind of situation. Because you got to this first. Actually, I'll explain the game first. You're going to have to preach a 3 to 5 minute word on that Bible verse. I call this out of context content. Yeah.
Nice.
Or
I go around this.
no content Devo. Or out of context content sounds better. So Dev, before reading the next verse, you can now choose to pass or play. Would you like to play this verse, or would you like to pass it to Teagan and you have to do the next one?
Surely it's more like Family Feud than Dylan.
I don't know. I don't watch TV. I play video games.
Actually, I'm not meant to read the rest, am I? I will pass.
Pass. Teagan.
Alrighty. Let me get it up. So it was Joshua what?
Joshua 3:10.
Okay. So just read verse 10.
Yeah, but you got to preach a word on it. Go.
All right. So give me a second to collect my thoughts. Well, if God is as it says among you, that means that our identity should be within him. And we should this obviously drives out all these things and to rap God. I started strong. But
It's a good word.
Come on.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another key word in this passage is living God. Just really want to emphasize that even though God may be, he may seem to be far and he may seem to not be listening or answering prayers, just know that he's chipping away. He's chipping away, and he's a living, breathing God that does wonderful miracles within us and through us.
It's a banger of a word.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. I just want to quickly address, first of all, you did really like props.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mia here says there's a lot of Josh just throwing people on the bus. And I thought, you're right. But I thought you guys would appreciate that's a fair trade to doing a disgusting food competition.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've got one question. Like, I've never played Among Us. How does this relate to Among Us?
It's just funny. Adelaide told me to do it.
Oh,
I
So-
get it,
Love that
Adelaide.
bit.
It's
Adelaide sent me a TikTok and I said I'll do it. And then she gave me a thumbs up emoji. So
I get it.
I was
get
trying
it.
to be hip.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jared, whip up the next one for me. And Alex, would you like to go to Luke 20?
Luke
Yep.
2:41-44.
Yeah, it's a good word. And you can have a look at the stream for the I actually just looked up Bible verses, like funny ones, and this one kind of had this vibe to it, the Home Alone vibe.
All right. So
So-
this one's talking about
Just read it first. Read the,
the boy.
verse.
Yeah.
Yep.
The boy Jesus in the temple.
Yep.
Now, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to custom. And when the feast was ended, as they were returning, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem. His parents didn't know it. How much am I reading? 44 as well?
Yep.
But supporting him to be in the group, they went a day's journey. But then they began to search for him among their relatives and acquaintances. Among.
That's not even in the version I had. That's good. I
Yeah.
rate that's in. This is good content.
We are reading from the ESV here on my Bible app.
Oh, I love that. I think the one that you guys are watching is NIV, I believe. So Dev, preach a sermon.
All right, so I'm going to take you back to a story of my childhood. I reckon it was about 2007. We were at a Sydney Swans versus Melbourne Demons footy match
Up the days.
at the MCG. And it was one of those special days where after the game, they opened up the MCG and you got to have a kick on the ground. And there was I was with one of my older brothers, and he did a massive kick, and I went running chasing it, and I found the ball, and then I found a couple of other kids who didn't have a ball and they wanted to kick, so I was having a kick with them, and I was having a good old time with them. They were having so much more fun because they didn't have a ball and they were sort of just walking around, just like touching the ground and sort of taking it all in. And so, yeah, I got to have an experience with them and got to, I guess, do life with them. But all the while, my dad was freaking out. He's like, I've lost a kid. And my older brother's like, I've just kicked this ball into oblivion and now my brother's gone, my little brother's gone. And I guess what that story sort of relates to in the story of Jesus staying at the temple is that Jesus was there because he felt called to that place. And I don't know whether it was an innate desire for me to connect with these kids that I started kicking the footy with, but I also had that desire to just, I saw that they had a need and I wanted to meet that need, and I wanted to make them belong among a crowd. Like, they're among a heap of people, but they didn't really look like they belonged. And I wanted to make them feel valued in that situation, even without me like actually cognitively thinking, hey, these people are by themselves. It was just me seeing, hey, these guys look like they're having a crap old time and they're on the MCG. They shouldn't be feeling this way. So I started kicking the footy with them. But I guess even though without my dad and my brother knowing, the time that they didn't find me, they didn't see me, I was connecting with these guys. And if my dad had have like yelled at me before I started running for the ball saying, no, you stay here, I'm going to go get the ball because I don't want you to go out with among all those people, maybe I wouldn't have had that connection with those guys and they might not have enjoyed the time as much. So I just want to encourage you guys to take every opportunity that you are gifted with. Like, God gives us opportunities to take a step of faith out in the community, with your friends, with your family. And if you see that, I encourage you to, the next time you have that opportunity, take that step out in faith and see what God does through you.
That was good. I rated that.
Quality.
At first, I was like, are you just trying to say that you're Jesus in this story? But then you pulled it in.
Yeah.
And that's a good sermon. You want to start it off with people like, where's this going? Get them hooked, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you brought it. That was good. That was
Thanks.
good quality content.
Quality.
So whoever's on next week can be prepared for some good out of context content. It's a good segment. I reckon.
It's very hard. There's a thin line between out of context
And
content
heresy?
and heresy.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we've said that it's out of context. So then, like, heresy kind of just doesn't exist in this space.
Pretty much that's our waiver that we've signed. That's
Yeah, like we've signed a waiver saying that what we're about to say may or may not be factual. Look it up for yourself by
Yep.
saying
Have
it's.
that discernment.
Yeah.
Mm,
Maybe I'll have to write a disclaimer and put it up before we start next time, just to make sure.
maybe.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see what else I've planned.
I like that because it chucked us in the deep end,
Yeah.
and we're like,
yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah.
But I kind of liked it because it was a challenge, and
Mm.
I felt like you couldn't really get it wrong because of that safety net of the disclaimer
Mm.
of this is out of context, but
Yeah.
you sort of have to reach into what, like you sort of got to trust what the words coming to your head because you haven't planned for it. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like off the cuff
exactly.
preaching.
Are you guys wants to be prepared, or are you more like a go with the flow? Like, I'll just rock up and do it.
Depends on the situation. If it's an exam, go with the flow. If it's
Yep.
no, I actually don't have an answer. Like it's just some days I want to be prepared and have everything, and some days I'm like, stuff it, whatever happens, happens. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a prep guy. Love to do some prep. Love to know what I'm doing before I have to do it. There's nothing worse than when Dad says, "Oh, can you come out
That's facts.
and help me for a day?" I'm like, "Yeah, no worries.
What are the hours?
What time and what are we doing?" He's like, "Oh, just get there before 9 o'clock and yeah." I'm like, "I want to know what we're doing. I want to know when we're finishing. Give me some more information so I can mentally prepare. Like, am I going to have to do a 10-hour day, or am I just coming out for a couple of hours, knocking a few fence posts in, and then we're going to watch the footy?"
Yeah,
Like,
on last week, Dad's like, "Well, come out and then knock in a couple of fence posts." And he's like, "We just need to do about 10." And in my head, I'm like, "Beautiful, 5 hours work." So we had an auger, so, make it easier. Anyway, I get a phone call from Andrew at 3 o'clock, me thinking day's about to be wrapped up because we've broken the auger about 4 times. Andrew's like, "Oh, I need a hand with something. When are you available?" I was like, "Oh, Dad, when are we knocking off?" And he's like, "Oh, 5:30, 6." And I'm like, "What? Like, why didn't you tell me this?" And he's like, "If I told you what time we're finishing, you weren't going to come." I'm like, "You're dead right." Anyway.
Whereas I probably would have, if I knew it would finish at 5:36, I still would have gone because I'm a bit of a people pleaser and got to keep everyone happy. But I would have been in a very bad mood.
Facts. It was actually that the whole game that we just did, it spurred on when I was younger as a pastor's kid. They have like these ACC conference, it's like where the pastors of the state meet together. And you got all these pastors' kids. What do you do with them? So they do like these what's it called? Like not a ministry thing, but like electives. You have electives. And so one of these things like that, all these electives, and I was just blanking out. I was like, don't care what it is. I'm a child. Wherever Daniel's going, I'm going. And I went to this preaching one, and we had a guy, Rob Buckley. I think it's Rob, Pastor Rob Buckley. I don't know. Anyway, someone will correct me. Mum's watching, so she'll correct me. Anyway, walking up there, and it's like, all right, I need someone to do a sermon on this balloon animal. The whole room's dead silent. And I was like, heck it. Got up there, did this sermon about this balloon animal, talking about Satan can pop it and God's a pump. And anyway,
Nice.
smashed. He got around me, Anyway,
It's quality.
happens. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to preach a word and then we'll come back because it's going to be a short one. We'll come back and discuss it a bit. Yeah?
Cool.
So, Dev, I'll grab you to get the drum. And we are around the drum because this is a drum thing. Anyway, that's all right. We'll make it work. Some more music. Have you ever felt like this? Strange things happen when you're going round the twist. It's something lovely. Thanks, Alex. Beautiful. All right, so can I sit on this drum?
Yes.
Yeah? Beautiful. This feels really weird. I actually saw a meme about this. Mia will laugh at it, about someone sitting on this kind of drum behind the preacher. Anyway, if you've seen the meme, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I tell you what, when I was writing this sermon, I was loving lockdown. And it kind of sounds like you're not allowed to say that. Like it sounds like, nah, you're not allowed to love lockdown because other people aren't loving it. But, I was playing heaps of Minecraft, making some YouTube videos, just having content. You're not allowed to find out what the name is. Anyway, but it sounds like a cardinal sin when you say it out loud. Because there's so many people that are going through it rough, that are really struggling financially or emotionally. People are hurting and a lot of people are scared and fearful in these times. And for me to be like, man, I'm doing good. Are we allowed to say that? In moments like these, are we allowed to say that we're doing good? that our personal experience is actually we're experiencing joy when people are suffering. Not we experience joy in the mean other people who experience suffering. We're not experiencing joy because people are experiencing suffering. Just wanted to clarify that one. Like, don't get me wrong, like sometimes like I'm still feeling hurt and like some things are still having a crack at me during lockdown. But like I'm actually doing really good. You know, getting heaps of sleep, you know, doing things that I enjoy, things that give me happiness, and I'm spending time with God that brings me joy. Yeah? So happiness and joy. So I've been working, when I wrote this is going to be like my funny laugh thing, but it's just, I don't have this, you know, I've talked about this before when you write a sermon and you're all pumped. And then, anyway, so I've been working like full time for like 4 years now, and I haven't been on a holiday yet. And now that I've been off for a week, that I had a week off, I understand why people take holidays now. Like I have so much more sense of why people take holidays. Like this is good. But let me ask you this, right? Are you enjoying lockdown? Or are you not enjoying lockdown? And like, why are you or why aren't you is my question. Because you see, like our happiness, I'm sure everyone's probably heard this one. Our happiness is based off our happenings. Yeah? So our happiness is based off our happenings. And our circumstances can then dictate what our happiness is. And so I got to this point in my message when I got a message from my boss in the group chat that we have. Or well, from the 2IC. Anyway, the boss just called, mate, we're back tomorrow. And then I get another message. Oh, so Josh, what are you doing tomorrow? And like I hadn't been called yet, no idea what's going on. And someone else is like, oh, I'm with these guys for a bit and then I'm back with you guys. And someone else is like, yeah, I'm here. And someone else, like everyone's getting slightly different things or doing slightly different things. And half of us haven't even heard anything yet. And then the apprentice group chat starts pinging. And that's when you know it's good content, when like the qualified people aren't allowed to see what you're going to talk about. You know what I mean? And I was like, nah, I'm over this. Like there's so much confusion. No, nothing's going on. And then, you know, like I join in. Like I just had that split second. I joined in and I'm like, yep, nah, off it. Absolutely off it. And then as I wrote that message, I reclined back in my chair, looked at my screen and it said, happiness is based off happenings and joy comes from the Lord. And I was like usually I get convicted like the day after I do a sermon. Like I'm writing the sermon right now and God's like, are you practicing what you're preaching? And so I sat there, I was like, damn. Like, do I just get rid of this whole sermon or do I just like, you know, just sit there? Anyway, God's timing. Like you can't really fault it. Because I was in the middle of telling people that you need to go to God for joy when I was actually realized that I didn't actually have joy in a lot of my circumstances. I had happiness. I was basing my joy off, well, what I thought was my joy off my circumstance. And when that circumstance changed, my happiness changed. When my comfortability changed, my happiness left. And like there was still joy in that. Like being able to read my Bible till late and not have to wake up at 6 o'clock the next day, that brought me joy. Like there was moments of joy. Anyway, I'm going to skip past that. So Isaiah 54:10. I'll read it slowly because I forgot to put it up. Anyway, though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace be removed, says the Lord who has compassion on you. So I hope you all got that. So that's Isaiah 54:10. So when you shake something, like though these mountains may be shaken, when you shake something, it takes it a while to settle. It takes it a while to turn back to normal. Like when you shake your OJ, it takes a while for the pop to go back to the bottom. Or like when you shake up your mate's can of Coke, it takes a while for it to not fizz anymore. You know, like it's been shaken, it's been stirred, and it takes a while for that to go back. But here it says that God's love will not be shaken. So there's no cool down period. Like it's just a consistent, there's no cool down on that. Like you can pop the lid straight away and enjoy a nice beverage. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to tap it on the top 3 times. It's already there, it's good to go. It's a refreshing goodness. And then the next bit says, nor God's covenant of peace be removed. And in other words, it's like, nor God's promise to humanity be removed. Like his promise of peace. This is after the floods that, you know, I promise not to flood you. That's the rainbow. Anyway, nor God's promise to restore the broken is another way of it. I've skipped a whole paragraph here. Here we go. I was looking up what peace meant. This is what I should have spaced this. Anyway, Peace is more than just the absence of conflict. It is taking action to restore a broken situation. It is more than a state of inner tranquility. It is a state of wholeness and completeness. So nor God's promise to restore the broken be removed whilst these mountains are shaken. So often we look for peace in the absence of conflict. Yet God doesn't say he's going to remove the conflict. He says he'll complete you. He says he's going to restore the broken. Like it says, though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, he will not be shaken. He's still there in this shaking. Bit of a relevance for you. See, I popped my bike tire on the way to work on Wednesday. And I could have fixed it myself, but I decided to cop the fee and support local. You know what I mean? I had to give it to them, Gippy Cycles, my broken bike. For it to be fixed, I had to give it to them. I can't just hold on to it and expect it to be fixed. You've got to do something about it. And so let me ask you this, do you give God your brokenness? Or do you hold on to it thinking, I'll save the cash, I'll just hold on to this and fix it myself later on when it's more convenient, you know? 1 Peter 5:7 says this, 1 Peter 5:7, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. So Peter, the writer of this, was a fisherman. So before he started following Jesus, he was a fisherman. And fishermen cast nets. And when you cast a net, you got to throw it and it fully submerges into the water. It takes effort to throw it. And if you're not too good at, don't want to go there because that's not the point I'm making. It takes effort to throw it. And you've got to give it right to cast at something. But how do you cast anxieties onto God? Well, first of all, this is saying you've got to give it all. You've got to give it all to God through prayer. You've got to tell God what's going on. You've got to, God, I'm struggling. You've got to help me out. Like what David did when I talked on last time about clean your bedroom. David gave it to God. He's like, I'm struggling. You've got to help me here. So you can talk to God. You can pray to God. You've got to spend time with God. You've got to get to know him. You can read your Bible. Like what I was talking about before is when you focus on something, that's where your attention goes and you become what you worship. So if you focus on God, you read your Bible and you gain peace because you know God's heart for you. You're learning God's heart for you in that moment. And you can worship, obviously, spending time praising him. Like for me, worship is a prophetic statement over my life. It's a declaration of what God's going to be doing in my life. It's continuing to speak truth over yourself in a moment of struggle. Like the Raise a Hallelujah song, they were in the midst of their pain, in the midst of the shaking, but they did this in a prophetic motion over themselves. You see, your circumstances can change, but God doesn't. He's forever the same. You see, I just want to leave it at that. It's just a short little 5-minute one. But next week, I'm going to continue on the topic of identity. And I want to tell you this, is spend time praying. Spend time reading your Bible this week and focusing on God. Because your circumstances no longer then have a hold on you because they're not your focus. Like what Dad told me when I was in a driving lesson on the farm one time, after I had hit a consecutive number of potholes, which he let me know about. Stop looking at the pothole and look at where you want to go. Because where you look is where you're going to go. If your eyes are set downwards, you're going to go down. Like when you're on what are them the thing's called? When you walk on thank you. When you work on a balance beam, they want you to look up. Because if you look down, you're going to lose your balance. Look up. Look at the road ahead, youth. Look at God and focus on him. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that one. I'll invite the homies back up.
That was sick. Rate that highly.
Cheers, Dev.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. That was really good. I appreciate you sharing that and sharing your conviction. I know it's hard to be like, convicted and stuff. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know, you guys probably don't listen to Judah Smith, or like a lot of you do.
I love
Dev does. A lot of these preachers now, with lockdown, they have and even out of lockdown, they have these people in stools behind them, and they just give them feedback while they're preaching. Just got big vibes of that. Like when you're preaching, you can just interact. And it's just I don't know. Maybe when I preach next, I'll have some people sitting behind me, just a hype crowd. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, just wanted to ask you guys, like, what's something that kind of spoke from that for you that you may be able to share with the youth if they maybe, a different perspective for them?
So if you guys remember or tuned in, Pastor Andrew spoke on faith. Was it last week?
Yeah.
On the stream. And he talked about faith being a position rather than an amount. Like, instead of being like a glass full of faith, you are in a position of faith. I think that's similar to joy and happiness. Happiness to me seems like a sort of a measure of something, a quantity of something. You can have a quantity of happiness, but joy, I feel like you're more in a position of joy. And if you place your happiness or joy in something that you don't know is going to stay the same, like if you place it in what other people think of you, you don't know what is going to happen there. So it's going to be changing and you have no control. Whereas we know that God is the same yesterday, He's the same today, He's going to be the same for the rest of eternity. So if you place your joy, your value in what God thinks of you, it's not going to change, and you can just stay in that position of joy that as long as I know that my Father loves me and I know that He's going to love me because He's not going to change. And if He loved me yesterday, He's going to love me today and tomorrow and for the rest of eternity. Why do I need to feel uncertain in this situation? Why do I need to feel lonely when I know that my Father loves me, sort of thing?
Yeah.
So good.
So I guess having that, knowing that your significance is in what God thinks of you rather than what the world thinks of you, I think that's a massive step to even just in life building confidence in yourself, in your own ability. If you believe that God's really for you and He's on your side, that brings so much confidence just doing daily tasks. Like if the teacher asks you a question, if you remember before you answer, wait, God's got me, God's going to be here with me, even if I answer this wrong, you're going to have so much more confidence in that situation. If you hand over your anxieties, your fears to God and really believe that He's on your side and He's going to help you, you're going to have so much more confidence in situations and just in life, really.
Love that.
So good. Yeah. I really liked what you said about like the potholes sort of thing. If you're constantly focusing on a pothole, like you're going to hit it. And it's, I guess, another spin on that in a sense is, so I've been reading through Matthew for a while now, and Jesus spoke about the parable of planting the seed in different soil, and how, if one gets, I can't remember off the top of my head, but different soil, different things, different outcomes. And just thinking of how if we surround ourselves and we create our identity on earthly things, we're only going to get earthly outcomes. Yeah, and we all know that causes pain and hurt, confusion, so many not great things, because we do live in a sin-filled filled world. And but if we place our identity within Christ, you're going to see and know, not even just a head knowledge, but a heart knowledge that you are a beloved child of God, and that, like what you said, Alex, that He's got your back. So it doesn't matter if you walk into exams, flipping, no prep, whatever, and you're just like, you know what, it doesn't matter if I come out with the world's worst ATAR or I literally only write my name on it. I mean, different story, but it doesn't matter because who I am doesn't change. Yeah. I'm still loved and I'm still His kid. And yeah, I feel a lot of people, the classic saying you should find yourself. Yeah. But if you've already planted yourself within God. Like, you've saved yourself so much time and heartache and questions of, it's like, oh, who am I really? What are my passions? What do I stand for? What do I like? What do I don't like? Like, you know, you've got an awesome God to help you, guide you through those things. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
and we've got a whole book literally about God, about who he says we are. And it's so much easier to read a book than it is to write a book. Like, if you have to find yourself, it's literally like writing your own Bible about yourself, and that's how you find yourself. Whereas we know that we're found in God and who he says we are, and that's already all written down there. All we have to do is read it and believe it.
Yeah.
So good. Love that. So just as we finish up, I want to pray for you guys, and then we're going to sing a song for you guys.
Thank you.
Anyway, so wherever you are, if you just want to close your eyes so don't get distracted. But dear Lord, I just thank you so much that you love us, Lord. Lord, that we can place our identity in you, Lord. Lord, that you can give us peace in moments of turmoil when our mountains are shaken, that we can focus on you, Lord. Lord, that you are always there and that you are for us and always with us, Lord. Lord, that you never change. Lord, the covenant of peace that you made back then is still relevant now. Lord, that you want to be with us and you want to show us your love, Lord. Lord, help us to see that and help us to receive it. In your name, amen.
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 All right. So we haven't prepared this, but you guys just jump in when you know the words.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. It's time. Bear in the Big Blue House, surely. Come on.
I actually
Nah.
just read my Bible as a kid.
Okay,
Watch VeggieTales.
Goodbye to the people who hated me. Goodbye to the people. No, different one.
No.
Different one.
Anyway, good. So, yeah, cut the stream.